Today we're talking about the dangers of waiving a home inspection, not just for the buyers, the sellers, but the agents as well. So we are here with the RE/MAX real estate agent. This is Maria Raymer. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having me be here. I enjoy talking with you guys about all these great topics and
so many
how
good
the
tips.
Market's changing so quickly.
Well, it is a very competitive market,
Yes.
and you're seeing some bad decisions that buyers, sellers, and agents are making. And what is that?
Yeah, so what I'm seeing is buyers, in order to secure a house, are waiving their home inspection rights, and that's never a good idea. In addition to that, you see agents suggesting to sellers in multiple bidding wars that they take that out of the equation. It really does create a liability for both sides, so it's really not a good idea.
Okay, so let's talk about the risks then let's start with the buyer.
Okay, so with the buyer, if they go into a contract on a home without an inspection period, their binder is non-refundable right from the start. So even if they somehow find out about repair issues later on, the binder doesn't come back to them. So in a normal process, they would have typically 10 days to do a home inspection. They'd bring a professional inspector in to check out the property. And although this is not foolproof, it certainly does give the buyer a higher level of assurance that they're buying a good home, that they know what they're buying. So to take that out of the process is not a good idea for the buyer, because they could have some scary expenses later on that could have been avoided had they have known ahead of time. And I've personally experienced this with a buyer, many buyers, where they were able to walk away in a case where the seller wasn't open to negotiating repairs, and they get their deposit back in this scenario, which is also great.
Okay, so then there's obviously a risk for the seller in this sense. So what is that?
Yeah, and sellers really don't think about this. Certainly, sometimes I've encountered their agents don't realize this either, but in the state of Florida, as is does not protect the seller against liability, because you can't really sell a house as is in Florida due to the Latent Defect Law, which says that a buyer can come back on a seller up to 10 years after the purchase. Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people know that, right? So that's why you want to get a real estate agent who knows their stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, and that is a long time. And so had the seller allowed the buyer to do their inspection, then they can say, hey, they had an inspection. They knew what they were buying.
Right.
We weren't trying to cover up anything. And, you know, if the buyer bought that house and later tries to bring a case against the seller, they're in a much better position in that situation to be protected from that liability. So yeah, it's as is does not protect the seller against future liability.
So I have a question then about the property disclosure form, because a lot of people might hear that and think, well, if I have that, I'm protected, but that's not always the case.
That's such a great point, Jordan, too, because yes, sellers do fill out what's called a property disclosure form to give the buyer an idea of the history of the home, any repairs that have been made, insurance claims filed, that sort of thing. And it's great, and it will help protect a seller for later liability issues if they put everything on there, if they fully disclose, if they fill it out properly, if they don't omit anything, such as insurance claims. And I think the perception, certainly among sellers that I have encountered, and with other agents as well not knowing, they think if they fixed it, it's no longer a problem. So therefore, what's to talk about? It's fixed, it's in the past. However, for example, if you have an insurance claim, when the buyer goes to get insurance, they're going to find out about that insurance claim, and then they're going to wonder, why didn't you just tell me up front? There might be more to this story, or is anything being hidden from me? And that can make it a problem in the end, and the sale could fall apart over that. So it is far better to fill out this information properly, be transparent. If litigation comes up later, again, hey, we disclosed it. Here it is. We told them about this. Why are they coming back and, you know, causing a problem now? So in all cases, do an inspection, be transparent, disclose, 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 and you will be protected in that way.
Oh my gosh, these are such great tips. If anyone wants to learn a little bit more, though, about you or just these great tips in general, where can they get more information?
MariaRaymer.com. So they can reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to anybody and answer any questions and their concerns. And no matter what the market is, I'm always going to advise my customers in their best interest. And all agents should work that way.
They should, and that doesn't always happen, though.
Not always.
It's nice to know that we do have someone like you on our side. So thank you so much, Maria.
Appreciate it.
And if you'd like to see this segment again or get more information, go to firstcoastliving.net.